Welcome to another episode of Bays Boys. 97 seconds of information you may or may not be able to use. Co-host Joe Skelly, tell me a story about, what was that thing you were talking about before?
HARP.
HARP.
You ever heard of HARP?
HARP, never heard of it. HARP, I've heard of a HARP.
H-A-A-R-P, HARP research program.
Okay. Give it to me, Joe Skelly.
So as it was portrayed, it's been told that it was a huge antenna array originally that was based out of Alaska near Fairbanks. And when it was designed and run by the U.S. Air Force, the Navy, University of Alaska and Fairbanks, and a couple of other organizations. And it was supposed to be for testing the ionosphere with radio frequencies. So they're taking this huge antenna array and bouncing radio signals off the ionosphere.
Meaning, what the hell is an ionosphere?
It's the cloud that surrounds the Earth, that protects the Earth from the cosmic rays in space.
Oh, the ozone layer.
Yeah, the ozone layer, the ionosphere, right? And what they said is they were testing,
I can't get to.
bouncing radio frequencies off it to another location,
right,
to test if it was possible to do this for surveillance and radio communications.
Bullshit. They wanted to sink China.
Yeah, well, it's also been hypothesized that it was like the weather dominator in G.I. Joe, and that the U.S. government can bounce these radio frequencies off the ionosphere and cause earthquakes or weather systems to form in places that they wanted to form it in.
What are things that humans shouldn't be doing?
For 1,000.
Right.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Like, you shouldn't be trying to cause,
natural disasters.
And hurricanes.
And things that'll cut the earth up. I mean, earthquakes. I'm from earthquake land.
Right.
That's not a thing.
Right.
That's weird.
It's like, have you ever seen those videos of people online talking about where they could hear the trumpets blasting,
right,
heralding in the end times, right?
Uh-huh.
Where people post these videos, it sounds like trumpets being blasted and it's coming from nowhere, but just from the ionosphere, just from space itself, right?
Right.
It's been believed that that was caused by the HARP program.
So thanks to Uncle Sam, and thanks Obama. No, I'm joking.
You can't blame that guy. I mean, since 2015, they said it's been run specifically by the University of Alaska and Fairbanks. But
good. I mean, good. Making
what better place to hide things than in plain sight?
Right. We're just up here collecting koala bear urine, and now we're gonna make earthquakes.
Didn't Steven Seagal have a movie about that in Alaska?
Yes.
Right.
He was trying to stop oil riggers or some shit, though.
You sure it was oil and it wasn't the HARP program?
Well, now that I think about it, I was pretty preoccupied by those 3 Aikido moves he was doing. So,
isn't that the one where he was wearing the suede leather jacket with fringe?
With the frills or fringe or whatever it's called. Yeah.
And he had like wampum sewn on the front of his jacket.
That's where they should have made him a goddamn sheriff. He could have fought polar bears.
Right, but he didn't become a sheriff till he went down to Louisiana.
What is he doing in Louisiana? We're getting off track.
Eating gumbo.
Here. Oh, my God.
Lots of gumbo.
Okay. Well, fuck Steven Seagal for now. So, this HARP program, and what's crazy is you just said it's from 2016?
No, it predates that, but they're saying since 2015, it's only been run by the University of Alaska. But before that, it was a joint venture with the U.S. Air Force, Navy, Department of Defense, and some other people. Probably the NSA.
That literally sounds like a fucking Captain America movie.
Right.
And the sad part is, not to get into government conspiracies and weird shit and blah, 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 because of everything that's going on with the pandemic, but it's weird that people don't... I know, I'm trying not to. But it's weird that people accept it's very fuck. We weren't supposed to go down these roads, but whatever. Let's do it. So it's odd to me that people conceive that other humans could be famous rappers. They could fly their own spaceship into space. They could score 100,000 billion touchdowns, right? They're supposed to be these big anomalies. But they don't think that people with tons of money in the government won't go do some weird shit.
For sure.
Like that's my thing is people are obsessed with people people are obsessed with TikTok and watching people who can do these dances that seem weird and crazy and unrealistic. But it's super unrealistic that rich people don't do unrealistic things. Whether it's the government, whether it's the CIA, the head of the CIA, whether it's Jeff Bezos and his dildo missile or rocket, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And
you know what?
Else said that.
You know what? That's why he didn't get the NASA contract, right?
Because it looked like a dildo?
Yeah.
Did he go for a NASA contract?
He did. And he lost.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he lost to Elon Musk.
Who did he lose? Oh, Daddy Elon, of course. I mean, that was a given.
Right.
You can't create a bookstore and then expect you're going to beat Daddy Elon with a bookstore.
No, you can't.
And a dildo rocket.
You can't.
Again, I did not name said dildo rocket. This is everything I heard. Like I learned it from memes, and that's a whole other venture in itself, but it's fucking gross that you have to get real news from memes now.
Yes.
That's a crazy thing. But let's get back on target.
Yes.
No Steven Seagal movie, and pun intended.
Yeah.
But so wait, that was Jean-Claude Van Damme. Anyways, so the HARP program, when was it developed? Did they is there an idea?
I'm not sure because that's information's probably not
right
readily available.
Let's not talk about when we started fucking things up. Let's just talk about that we stopped fucking things up. Again, another media trick, you know. Yes. Making earthquakes. Well, I
mean, that's all conjecture.
Right.
That's all conjecture.
I'm using
but there are a lot of people out
conjecture.
there that in the scientific field that believe that that's possible.
Think about what you would do, not only to the planet, but just the people in that area. You drop a giant seismic fucking 9.0 on the scale, and it swallows half of China. And again, not that China's not swallowing itself right now, no pun intended, but it's sad.
It is sad. Because
you're fucking with a ton of people's lives who don't need to be fucked with. Was that our government heading that, I'm guessing?
Maybe Department of Defense, U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force. Probably some other organization.
You ever notice that the Navy's involved with everything experimental? What's up with that?
They got the funding.
How? What are they doing?
They're huge.
I guess. I accept that a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway. Ever told you about Indian burial ground?
One in particular?
No.
Let me tell you, I go to Indian burial grounds even less than I go into the wilderness. Which, again, might have been to the wilderness like twice on accident. I'm sure as fuck not going to a burial ground on purpose. So, how's that work?
So, a couple years back, I was going to go. My son was on spring break.
Uh-oh.
And he wanted to go camping.
Here it comes.
Yes. He's like, Dad, let's go camping. I said,
to the real woods.
To the real woods.
The real woods. Good. Very good. Bag your own shit woods.
Yeah. So, a buddy of mine, my kid, put together this plan on his spring break. We're going to go camping. We're going to go deep woods camping, right?
Right.
We're going to take all of our equipment with us. We're going to spend like a week out in the bush. And then we're going to come back to society. Right?
Good.
So,
I hope there was no personal urine consumption done during this week.
Absolutely not.
Good. Very good.
No plan for that.
Very good. Shout out to Kyle for not drinking his own urine.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. Anyway, 8.5 hour drive
to
the location we're going to go. It's a series of trails that ties into the big one everybody likes to camp on the East Coast, right? The one that goes up and down the coast.
Good.
So it's like 70 miles of trail, offshoot trail.
Nice.
So we get down there. It's on the border of Virginia, West Virginia.
This is going bad.
In Kentucky.
Is starting to turn.
Kentucky, the tri-state area.
Some hills have ice shit going on here.
Pretty much. Some hills have ice shit, right?
Good. Very good.
So we get down there. Now the weather's supposed to be in the 30s and the 40s, so we pack our packs super heavy for cold weather camping.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Let's do it.
Like Star Wars.
Right. Like Hoth.
Yeah.
The planet Hoth.
Cool white uniforms.
Right.
Yeah.
So we drive down there. We get down there, park the car. We're getting ready to hit the trails. And it's 75 degrees.
Oh. Cold weather not required.
Cold weather not
gear,
required. So now our packs are way overpacked. They're like 80 pounds apiece.
This was before checking the weather was a thing.
Totally before checking the weather was a thing, right? We just said, screw it, we're going to go do it, right? We had maps, we had compasses, we had protractors. We had mapped out where we were going to source water because there were springs all along this
Makes
trail.
sense. No need for drinking urine. Once again, thanks a lot, Gills or whatever the hell that guy's
Bear
name
Grylls.
is. Bear Grylls.
Right.
We should stop promoting that guy. Anyways.
Yeah. So, the fact was we were going to carry our own water in. That we were going to get to a point where we needed water and we'd have resupply, right, along this route. Right.
Good.
So we hit the trail. We started hiking. Now, I'd gone camping before up in the Catskills where we were hiking up the side of a mountain. It was like an hour for every 1,000 foot in elevation that you would go.
Okay.
Right? Because that's the angle of the mountains there. So in my mind, I was thinking it was going to be very similar. Till we got down to this tri-state junction. And by the way, I heard there were a lot of Bigfoot sightings down there.
Oh.
But I didn't take that into consideration when I went down there.
So you were only carrying the small guns. But not worried about the big Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Ron.
Ron, right. So we started off hiking. And to my chagrin, what I realized was this mountain was a lot steeper than the one in the Catskills.
Oh.
So instead of like an hour in elevation for every 1,000 foot, it was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours because it was so steep.
Ooh.
And we're hiking.
That sounds fun.
And we're plotting away, right? Like 3 hours into this thing, we're sweating our asses off with these 80-pound rocks.
With all your cold weather gear.
All our cold weather gear in there. We decided to sit down and eat lunch.
Uh-oh.
And we've been consuming a lot of water. And we're like, you know what?
Urine.
Yeah, not urine. So we're like, thank God we're going to be close to a spring because we're probably going to have to resupply soon.
Right.
And we're eating lunch. And all of a sudden, down the mountain on this trail, as we're eating lunch, we literally just turn around and there's a guy standing there.
What the fuck?
Right next to us. Like he just appeared out of nowhere.
Nope.
And this guy's wearing hiking boots, some shorts. Right, he's got like a t-shirt on and a backpack.
They weren't jorts, were they?
They weren't jorts.
Okay.
That's
how you know you're semi-safe.
Right. Some hiking shorts.
They were jorts, you should have run, but...
A backpack with like 15 canteens on it.
Oh.
And hanging off of his belt. Hanging off of his belt, he's got a giant machete.
Oh. Very good.
And he literally just appeared out of nowhere. So he kind of caught us by surprise. We're like, fuck, where'd this guy come from?
Right.
And he looks at us and he goes, you boys camping? Now, mind you, we're all sitting on giant backpacks. And we're like, yeah. Where you all planning on camping? We're like, up the trail. Where?
Oh.
Now we're kind of getting worried, right? We're out in the middle of nowhere.
The guy with the machete.
The guy with the machete.
Not a Steven Seagal movie.
Not a Steven Seagal movie. You know, and at first we're kind of worried. So we pull out our maps and we're like, we're planning on camping here. And the next thing he goes, what does that say right there? Well, sir, planning on camping at this spot called Indian Burial Ground.
Oh, good.
And he looks at us dead in the face and he goes, nobody camps at Indian Burial Ground.
Jesus.
And until that moment, none of us had even considered that this might be a bad idea.
Oh my God.
And I looked at the guy and said, what did you just say? And he goes, nobody camps at Indian Burial Ground.
Oh.
And now we're kind of nervous. Right? We're getting nervous.
Right. Is it because of the machete or Bigfoot?
Or because maybe where we're going to camp is called Indian Burial Ground, and perhaps it is an Indian burial ground, and we didn't even consider that.
Wow.
Right? He's like, you boys got water? We're like, yes, sir. We got plenty of water purification stuff. We're going to hit these springs right here, and we're going to get some water. And he looks at us and he goes, there ain't no water up here. So what do you mean there's no water up here, bro? I said,
it's getting dangerous.
It's getting like, there's plenty of springs on this map. He goes, we ain't had water up here in 4 months. There's been a drought.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, well, that would have been good to know before we got up here.
So now you have your cold weather gear.
Cold weather gear.
One canteen.
No, we had like some water bladders and like 3 canteens apiece, but like,
right.
I mean, when you're,
so you're
hauling
running
an 80-pound ruck up, 2,500 foot of elevation at like an hour and a half per 1,000 foot. I like you're going through your water.
Oh my.
Right. And he goes, "Oh yeah, there's a storm brewing."
Yo, you can't win.
Can't win for nothing. He goes, "You don't want to be on this mountain when the storm comes." We're like,
did you ask him to stay with him?
No.
You weren't like, "Hey, where's your cabin, boss?"
Nah, my man was getting off the mountain. He was going
He
downhill.
was going down
away from us. And we're like, no, we'll be okay. He's, "Oh, ain't nobody want to be on this mountain. The storm's coming."
Oh my God.
And we start to talk to each other, and we turn around, and he's gone.
What?
As quickly as he appeared is as quickly as this dude vanished. Like, he just appeared, and he disappeared. And we're like, what the hell?
Ooh.
Like, where'd this guy go, right? Is this some old mountain holler magic?
Oh my God.
The only thing that was missing was like some banjos and some other stuff, right? So we finished our impromptu lunch, and we're like, we're tough. Fuck all that.
Oh no. You didn't.
Let's keep going.
Cold weather gear and all.
Cold weather gear and all.
Fuck.
So we started hiking up this mountain.
Joe Skelly, remind me to stay away from the woods when you're around it too, because I see this is a pattern. This is a pattern.
So we're like, fuck that, let's keep going. Now, mind you, we start walking up the mountain, and the trail runs along the summit of the mountain, right? And the trail's wide enough for like 1 foot in front of the other, right?
That's not a trail.
That's
a crease in the dirt.
It's like a goat trail, right?
Oh my.
And my buddy's looking at me, he's like, "Bro, you see all these washouts that come across this trail?" And I'm like,
my.
"What about it?" He's like, "Man, if it starts to storm up here, this trail gets washed out." And I'm like, "Then we got to keep on pushing."
Oh no.
Because now we decided collectively we're not going to stay at Indian Burial Ground, because now that sounds like a really bad idea.
Because Machete Man might show up again.
Because Machete Man might know.
Get him, Steven.
Right. And so we keep pushing. We get to the top of this mountain. And we're on the top of this mountain, walking along the peak, walking along this edge, right?
Right.
To keep on following this trail, because apparently it's somewhere along this trail.
Horrible idea.
There's like this impromptu lean-to that's been built.
Was this on the map?
Yes, this was in the map.
So this is on the map with all the other streams that don't exist, and
yeah,
right. Good.
But it's a little bit further than Indian Burial Ground.
Very good.
So we're like, oh, the hell with it. We'll just keep pushing. There's supposed to be water at the lean-to. It's gonna be rough, but it's like 3.5 hours from where we're at.
Did you buy this map from a hobo? I'm just curious, because now I'm starting to wonder where we got this map from.
I printed this map off the interwebs.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
And I'm not sure
how
we
should have started the story with this. What the fuck?
I'm not sure.
Oh no.
I'm not sure how old this map was, but I was like, hell, we'll just go. It's like 3.5 hours, right? It's getting dark soon. We'll just headlamp it up, and we'll just keep pushing, right?
With our cold weather gear on.
With our cold weather gear, right? So we're hiking along the top of this mountain, and it's like an hour, maybe more than an hour. And there's no squirrels.
Yep.
No birds.
Yep.
No chipmunks.
Makes sense.
No animals. No nothing.
Logical.
So here I am thinking about this. I'm like, oh, maybe it's bears. Maybe there's bears out.
Oh no.
Because, all the little animals are scared and none of them are hiding. They're all hiding, actually. They're all hiding. The only thing we saw was like eagles flying around.
Right.
Or hawks or whatever they were, right?
They're looking for water too.
But there's no noise whatsoever. None.
That's not good.
So I'm like, it's got to be bears, right? So like every 30 feet, I'm like, hey, bear. I'm yelling, hey,
Good.
Bear, because the last thing you want to do is surprise a bear, right?
Good.
I'm like, maybe this will keep them away, because, brown bears are like the town drunks, They're like, hey, buddy, got a sandwich?
Right.
They're just stumbling around the woods,
hey,
just looking for sandwiches and stuff, right? So we get to a certain point on this mountain, and we're out of water. We're nowhere near
Fuck.
Indian burial ground. Nowhere near this lean-to. We got like 2.5 hours still of hiking.
I know how this ends. The Machete Man shows up again, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't.
That's what I was scared of. I had to call it before. It's like
Right.
it's like when you're watching a scary movie and you try to guess what's going to happen
Right,
to
right,
make yourself
right.
feel better.
So we sit down collectively, and we're listening to the wind blowing.
Yep.
We're looking around for miles around.
No animals.
No animals, no nothing, no noise. It's really weird. It's like dead silent except for the wind. And we come to the conclusion before the storm comes, because we got no water, maybe we should get off this mountain.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe we should get off this mountain.
This is why the woods are dangerous.
So we turn around and we're like,
to go back to the goat path.
to go back to the goat path to get back to the vehicle. So we're double timing it. Right? We're like,
we must go faster to catch up to Hatchet Man.
to catch up with Hatchet Man.
Machete Maker Man.
So like we're hauling. I mean, we're hauling, right? Heavy packs and all. Everybody's hurting. Knees are hurting. Back is hurting. We're like, get the fuck off the mountain. Get the fuck off the mountain because the storm's coming, right? And as soon as we get off the mountain and we get back to the truck and load up all our gear, it starts. It's a deluge. Like it's just coming down, right?
Jeez.
So we just happen to get off in time, right? And we're like, well, what do we do? And I was like, you know what? I got some friends up in Lexington. Let's drive straight to Lexington. We'll spend the night with them in Lexington and we'll be cool. And on the way, like, because we're in rural southeastern Kentucky, and those are like 2-lane roads through the hollers.
I'm good on that noise.
Places you don't want to necessarily pull up.
Those are places with holes that aren't inspected,
yes.
so to speak.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But you don't want to get pulled off and get lost in a holler somewhere. Because
I saw Justified once, right? Timothy Oliphant was picking motherfuckers out of deep mine shafts. That whole fucking TV show with his cowboy hat and his funny walk. I'm good on that shit.
Right.
And
so we get up to Lexington and we go to my friend's house. We tell him what happened. But like the whole way we're up there, you know, we're talking about Machete Man.
Machete Man.
Machete Man. And I think what we realized, Machete Man wasn't bad. Machete Man was good.
He saved your life.
He saved our life. He was like Michael the Archangel. Came down off the heavens with his sword, the one that he helped strike down Lucifer with, you know.
Jesus.
To warn us about the evils that lay ahead, because nobody camps at Indian burial ground. I mean, nobody, right?
I mean, that was your first indicator. I wouldn't be camping on no burial ground either. Trying to get cursed.
So right. So we get to Lexington, and I'm telling my friend who lives in Lexington, who's an avid outdoorsman, right? Rock climber, camper, mountain biker, kayaker.
Makes sense.
We're telling him where we were. He's like, you fucking crazy? Really, what do you mean? Are we fucking crazy? He goes, do you know what happens down there in them hollers? Like, you get off the beaten path, right? People disappear all the time, end up in mine shafts, right? Because they think you're a revenuer.
Oh.
So then we're telling him, we're like, yeah, we ran into this guy with his machete, and he was like, Jesus. And then we tell him about how there was no noise on the top of this mountain. He goes, that ain't right. I said, yeah, I thought it was probably bears. He's like, that wasn't no bears.
Right.
I said, what the fuck was it? He goes, you ever heard of Kentucky Wildcats?
Huh.
I said, like the football team? He's like, no, like the real animal, the Kentucky Wildcats.
A giant wild mountain lion cat?
He said, you know what the Kentucky Wildcats are? I said, no. And he goes, Panthers.
Oh,
I said, Panthers. He goes, they're back. I said, what do you mean they're back? He goes, yeah, they got forced out of Kentucky and they got pushed all the way down to Mexico, but they've been making their way back up from Mexico through the Carolinas. Now they're back.
What?
In Kentucky.
Is this a real thing?
Real thing. Panthers.
Panthers.
And I said, bullshit. He goes,
Kentucky.
In Kentucky. And he goes, no, this isn't bullshit. Now, my friend happens to work in a cardiac ICU in a hospital close to southeastern Kentucky. So he gets a lot of these good old boys from the hollers up in his hospital.
Oh, boy.
And he happened to be talking to one of these older gentlemen. And the older gentleman's the one that told him the Panthers are back. He goes, well, how do you know?
That is ridiculous.
He goes, I got pictures of them on my game cameras. He goes, so what did you do about it? He goes, I took him to Kentucky Wildlife and Game, and I showed them the pictures. True story.
What
you know
they say?
You know what they did?
They're fake pictures?
No, they tore them up, threw them away, and said, this never happened.
What?
They're not here. Yeah. They threw away the pictures. You want to know why?
Why?
Think about it. If there's a protected animal now living in Kentucky, what would that do to all the coal mining and oil and fracking and everything else?
Oh, shut it down.
They'd have to shut it all down to do research on these protected animals.
And we got to call Steven again. He did save that mine shaft. Although that one he blew up. Why the fuck did we watch so many of those movies? We're getting sidetracked here. Get on the phone with the sheriff, though. Let him know that there's panthers.
There's panthers back in
hollows.
Kentucky. But you know what? I had a retake on this. Maybe he was wrong. Maybe it wasn't the Panthers. Maybe it was the big man himself.
The big man?
Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot.
The Sasquatch. Did you know southeastern Kentucky,
Here we go.
every single year,
Oh my.
within a certain time frame, has over 150 sightings of Bigfoot in that region that we were planning on camping?
What if it was a panther?
It might have been a panther, but I'm more likely to believe it was a Bigfoot.
Now, did they say what color these panthers were?
He did not.
So do you have any idea what color they are?
No idea.
They're saying, I'm reading here, that there's no black feline species in Kentucky, but that doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean that there's still not a scary panther in Kentucky. For years, residents throughout Kentucky have reported seeing large cats, mountain lions, also called cougars or panthers. I get calls all the time, said State Rep Fitz Steele, a Democrat who represents Perry and Harlan counties in eastern Kentucky. You probably shouldn't be fucking with no panthers, homie.
We probably got stalked by Bigfoot.
Or Bigfoot.
I mean, I know what they're saying about panthers, but I'm more likely to believe, based on the fact that there's so many sightings, it was probably Bigfoot.
Let's just recap so we can finish this up. First of all, do not camp on Indian burial grounds. Second of all,
no, because Michael the Archangel himself said,
my God.
Nobody camps at Indian burial ground.
Second of all, check the weather before you go out. Third of all, don't trust the water map unless you want to drink your own urine, like the grills. We're not, oh my God. Fourth, if you see any panthers or they try to shut down anything, call Steven.
Right. Call Steven.
40, 30, 97 seconds. Bays Boys, Panthers, and the Machete Man.